You're live.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the 86th week of the Free Assange Online Vigils. My name is Andrew Smith, and this Tuesday I am joined by Steve Poikinen and Misty Winston. Sorry, I had to run in the background. But without further ado, we are on day 3,727 of the illegal and arbitrary detention of Julian Assange. It is day 681 since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy to Belmarsh prison in the UK following a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. It is 48 days since Vanessa Baraitser's January 6, 2021 ruling denying Julian Assange bail, after the no extradition ruling and personally ordering his release on January 4th, 2021, based on the conditions of the U.S. prison system and mental health concerns. It is day 1,351 of federal incarceration for whistleblower Reality Winner. But in good news, we have day 344 of freedom for Chelsea Manning. And as always, she does stream on Twitch multiple times throughout the week. You can find her at XYChelsea87 over on Twitch. And then in some better than bad news, Jeremy Hammond has reached 98 days in a halfway house, which is not freedom, as we say every time, but it is better than a penitentiary. So with that, how are you doing today, Missy? As we say every time, but it is better than...
Oh, is there an echo?
No, that was my phone.
Oh, okay.
I was pulling up the YouTube chat.
Oh, okay.
Hi, YouTube chat.
I was so confused. Hi, YouTube chat. We love you, you glorious bastards. Andrew, I'm doing good, I guess. I'm doing all right. The snow's finally starting to melt, so that's exciting. I hate the snow.
Sorry. Yeah,
We're
no.
a hot
We're
mess
on it with
tonight,
the phones today.
We're a hot mess tonight, y'all. Can we get it together? Pull it together, fellas.
Coming in
I
hot.
showed up
please.
looking good. I don't know who the
That's right.
fucking the rest of you, but
You can't just show up looking the part and just, we're doing it live. Fuckers. Get
works
it together.
for so many other people.
It does. Like everybody on mainstream media. You know what I mean? Ugh, yeah. But I mean, they do look good in those fancy suits on CNN. $3,000 suits or whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
They look so handsome and so serious and
Those
respectable.
CIA threads.
Right? Anyways, we're way off track.
So,
It's Tuesday. We're going to go over some shit, y'all. We're going to do a little update on the Assange case, I think. Go over the
Stratford
release
leaks.
from Stella. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about the Strat leaks, that the anniversary is Saturday. And talk a little bit about Craig Murray, I think, because there's a awesome kind of... I don't know, like supportive social media campaign going on. The hashtag, I think, is it just I stand with Craig Murray, or is it just stand with Craig Murray?
I believe it's stand with Craig Murray. Let me...
Okay, so yeah, if you guys don't know, he's going through his own legal shenanigans right now. You should familiarize yourself with that case because it's important. We've talked about it on the show, so I'm sure most of you already know. But yeah, he definitely could use some support as well. He will not ever ask for it. He's done a gazillion interviews since his legal case has started, and he always only ever talks about Julian Assange. He never mentions the stuff he's also going through, and he's facing some shit too. So, yeah, if you can jump on Twitter and show support for him, that would be excellent because he is a phenomenal human being.
We stand with Craig Murray.
Oh, okay.
Hashtag we stand with Craig Murray.
So yeah, we should do a Twitter storm for that shit.
I agree. We could probably get the groups.
Yeah, let's get Lubers to, because he's great at that. We can maybe do one like Thursday since Assange is Friday or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That would be dope.
If there winds up being an ABB tonight, I'll
bring it up.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, because that would be cool. He's really great at that, and he's already got the infrastructure kind of set up to get that going. So that'd be great.
Heck yeah. We have actually, I don't know if you guys remember, but Juan sent us a flow chart of the legal proceedings and how that works. Mm-hmm. We have a really bad echo.
Is it me again?
I think it's you again, Missy.
God damn it.
They keep turning up your echo level.
Damn it, Kevin.
But we have the flow chart, and we also have update by Stella that we can get through for the court stuff. The flowchart's really cool because it just lines everything up for all the possible options and decisions that could happen. So do we want to start with the article and then we can play around with the flowchart afterwards?
Yeah, I think we should definitely start with the update from Stella, because a lot of people over the past week have asked me, like, what does the counter appeal mean? Like, what is that? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's kind of complicated, and it's not, I mean, those of us in the US, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So, and I still don't, like, I'm not like an expert in British law, don't get me wrong, but her, the I guess kind of press release or update on the fundraiser that she put out does a pretty good job of explaining, you know, kind of what their options are right now. So yeah, let's dive into that.
Cool. I'll pull it up on the share screen. Let me get my Zoom right real quick.
Cool. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked it out, they have a, I think is it called Crowd Justice fundraiser. Stella has one running for to pay for his legal fees, which, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, are exorbitant. It's pretty intense.
Yeah, and I'll put the link to this once we're done covering it, because this is the actual fundraiser itself on Crowd Justice, which
you can. It's just like a GoFundMe or whatever. You can add updates. So that's what this. That's where she posted this at. Okay, who wants to read? You want me to do it?
You can pick it up. That's cool.
It's a busy time for the lawyers working on my partner Julian Assange's extradition case. Last Friday was the deadline for the U.S. government to finalize its application to the High Court, asking for permission to appeal last month's decision. Earlier in the week, a coalition of dozens of major U.S. press freedom groups had called on the Biden administration to drop the charges against Julian. The next step in the legal case is that Julian's legal team will respond to the U.S. grounds for appeal. Julian's lawyers are hard at work. Julian's team has asked the High Court to give them more time to consider whether to lodge a cross appeal in order to challenge parts of the ruling where the magistrate did not side with Julian and the press. One, at the magistrate's court, the magistrate did not side with him on the wider public interest arguments. We wanted a UK court to properly quash the extradition and refute the other grounds too. We wanted a finding that the extradition is an attempt to criminalize journalism, not just in the US, but in the UK and the rest of the world as well, and that the decision to indict Julian was a political act, a violation of the treaty, a violation of his human rights, and an abusive process. Julian's extradition team is considering all these issues and whether they can be cross-appealed. The court will set the deadline for the defense to submit its response, and once it has all the arguments before it, the High Court will decide whether it wishes to grant permission for the appeal to be heard. Meanwhile, Julian, who is an unconvicted, innocent man, remains on remand in the high-security Belmarsh prison, where he has been for over 500 days. He should be home with his kids, but he was refused bail. There are many terrible things about Belmarsh, not least how cold it has been over the last couple of weeks, and that he is isolated in a cell practically all day long. However, the most pressing problem for Julian is that conditions in detention continue to obstruct his ability to prepare his legal case, a case on which his life depends. He's denied proper access to his lawyers. His legal team is unable to do in-person visits because of COVID. There are months of waiting lists for video conferencing. There are delays in legal papers reaching him, and the laptop issued by UK authorities for the court case is read-only. It has no text editing program, and the keys are glued down to prevent him from typing. This makes it all but impossible for him to provide adequate feedback to his team with regards to the materials required for the appeal. The campaign is now at its most critical point. We cannot afford to have the magistrate's court ruling reversed on appeal. The Biden administration will soon appoint its new attorney general, and this will be an important moment to raise the pressure on the Biden administration to live up to its commitments to defend press freedom and drop the charges against Julian. The Obama administration, of which Biden was vice president, decided not to pursue charges against Julian because it recognized that to do so would be a wider attack on press freedom. It was the Trump administration which charged him and pursued the extradition as part of its war against journalism. Do whatever you can, however you can, to help raise awareness about Julian's case in the coming weeks and months until Julian's freedom is secured. Go to the Don't Extradite Assange.com campaign site for resources and ideas. Please keep sharing this fundraising appeal with friends, family, colleagues, and anyone else who might be able to donate. This is a David and Goliath battle, and the U.S. government has unlimited resources. Keep explaining why Julian is guilty of nothing other than exposing truths about U.S. war crimes and human rights abuses. An attack on him is an attack on free press.
Yeah. So basically what that means, I think, is that the question that they're facing right now is, do we go after all of the other points that the judge ruled in favor of the prosecution, and do they try to fight those, or do they kind of cut their losses and just try to get him out like as easy as possible? And it's so ridiculous. Like when you were reading about how he can't meet with his lawyers, he has a laptop where the keys are glued down. He can't participate in his own defense. He can't. How are you supposed to? I mean, it's not like this is some like rinky-dink county court case. Like he's up against the United States empire, and he can't even like plan or talk to his lawyers or, you know, participate at all in his own defense. It's insane that this is happening. I know we say that all the time. Jesus, every time we read something like that, I'm like, are you kidding? This is happening, like out loud.
Yeah. And that's the craziest part. Any part of the story, like you could even go into the fact that he was spied on while he was in the embassy for at least 2 years leading up to his arrest.
I know, that's what I mean. We say this all the time because there's so much of this shit. Like there's so much of this that like when you say it out loud, you're like, this is fucking nuts. Like I can't believe this is happening. And there's so like, it's not just that one thing. There's like dozens of those things that make you say that. Like, what the fuck? Like this is really happening. This case is, I mean, if humanity survives, this case will be studied for decades, you know, forever.
And I hope they take Kevin Gastola's perspective of like, why did we even have to be here? Like, how did we reach this point as a civilization that we allowed this to happen?
God, I hope so. I don't have a lot of like, humans are kind of hell bent on fucking things up. So
yeah, we're pretty good at that.
Yeah, we really are.
So I'm gonna pull up a little flow chart and I'm gonna run through it with everybody. I don't mean to bore everyone.
Did we drop the? Can we drop the crowd justice thing in the? Did we already do that? Okay.
Yep, I put that into all the chats. Is your Rockfin up, Steve?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll drop it in your Rockfin chat. That's the only one I didn't put it in.
Yeah, just if anybody can donate to Julian's defense, you know, or just share the link. Like that helps tremendously. We say that about our own fundraiser. Sharing the link helps. So do it now.
And we'll talk about our fundraiser and stuff that's going on there because we're having some issues, but that's completely aside the point. Now later on down the stream thing. But I'm going to pull up this flow chart because I love flow charts. They're almost as good as spreadsheets. So this is, I know, I love it. This is something that Juan Passarelli shared with us, and we didn't get a chance to go over it on the last vigil, but I did want to go over it now. This is January 4th. This is where the judge accepted the defense's arguments not to extradite Julian. The U.S. had until January 18th to appeal, which they did. Does the U.S. decide to appeal? Yes, it did. It filed the application for permission. And then we had the submission deadline, which just recently passed. The submission for the perfected grounds 10 working days after the application for permission to appeal is issued was extended until February 13th. That's a lot of fancy words for saying the U.S. had this much time to essentially appeal up till the 13th. They filed for, I believe, an extension on that a little bit as well. And that's where we're at now. We're in this wonderful period of limbo. And so that's basically what we're moving towards, is basically the defense having their option to decide how they want to appeal, which is what leads us to where Stella's post basically is at this point, as far as whether it's going to simply combat the appeal that the U.S. put forward or decide to do a larger cross appeal and take on the entire body that the judge put forward, which personally that's not my decision to make. I'm not the person in jail. I'm not the person in Belmarsh prison. I am not a legal counsel of that person or trained in any legal means. So I think that that's kind of where it's best, is just to see what they do, because they'll make the option that they find to be the best in that situation. Where
I can't imagine being faced with those kinds of decisions. You know what I mean? Like
and fucking constantly they're faced with the decision of, are we gonna have Julian in jail longer or just give it up? Like, that was the entire thing with the fucking witness hearings and all of that, is, well, are we gonna extend it out? Do we want to try to push this longer? Because it's just going to keep him in jail more, subjugated to these cruel conditions. And it's fucked up that they put it on the lawyers to do that.
Yeah. It's really intense. Like, I think about that all the time. Like, what would it be like to be a member of his legal team? And
then to not even be able to get counsel with him.
Right. And trying to defend this guy who is, I mean, literally, this is life or death. That's not like overly dramatic. This is life or death for him. And you can't even meet with your client. You can't like plan with him or strategize with him. He can't email you, or, you can't send him legal documents that he can then, edit on the laptop that he was provided in the prison and then send it back to you so that you can at least correspond that way. They can't do anything. And like Steve was reading in Stella's update, it's the video conferencing like wait list is forever long. Like, so he can't even like have, like conference call meetings online with his lawyers at all. Like, he can't talk to them. It's fucking crazy. And then to have to be trying to defend somebody against the U.S. empire under those conditions, and to make these massive decisions that are going to influence this dude's life. And really the future of press freedom and democracy. No pressure, guys. I mean, no pressure. Well, that's a lot.
We've talked about the wisdom or the route of cross appeal a couple of times on Anonymous Bites Back, but I don't know if we've talked about it here in any kind of detail. And I would like to know what you guys' opinions are on this, because it's a really fine line to walk with it, because the man's getting tortured to death, and they're trying to freeze him out or poison him with like, no matter what you think about COVID, if they're packing infected people into his cell, they're trying to kill him with a bioweapon.
Yeah,
it has become a weaponized pathogen at that point. So no matter what you think about it, in this instance, it's a weapon.
I think it's the fucking bullshit paradox that they always present, right? So they can fight the U.S. appeal based on what the U.S. says, and hopefully get Julian out in a reasonable amount of time, right? No extradition already went through, as long as the U.S. doesn't have a leg to stand on, because all they have is literally, no, he won't kill himself. Like, that's their only argument, right?
We have crafts.
Right. So there's a reasonable seen path if Julian and his legal team go, we're going to get out, and then we're going to worry about the rest of it. But then there's that other decision of leaving all of this hanging and what can be done with it until it is appealed, if it's not appealed now. So I think it's like, I would love to see the cross appeal get filed and have them win and overturn everything.
But that's also, like, I understand how heavy that is for Julian. Like, to me, I don't know if I would have the integrity to continue, like, knowing I'm going to be continue to be tortured while I do this cross appeal in order to try to save the future of journalism and press freedom. I would like to think I would be that cool, but I don't know. But to me, I feel like that's been Julian's mission the whole time. Like, it's always been, to him, bigger than him. Like, he's talked about it a million times, and how, you know, this is really about revolutionizing journalism and protecting investigative journalism and all of that. So, I mean, I don't know, but he's also been completely brutalized for 10 years. So, I mean, that's a really hard question, because I can't put myself in his shoes and, you know, have the decade of torture as like a point of reference and an experience that I'm basing that judgment on. Because, like, right now, like, I want to be like badass and be like, fuck them, we're going all the way, and we're going to fight for press freedom. But under those circumstances, like, I'm sitting comfortable in my house right now with heat, and I can go upstairs and eat, and like, I'm not like under threat of, at least, you know, not that I know of, from the U.S. government. So, you know, it's hard for me to like say what I think is the right or wrong thing to do, or like the best thing to do, because I don't know. That's huge. Like, that's a huge thing. I can't really even wrap my head around it, honestly. What do you think, Steve? Like, what are your thoughts?
If they don't cross appeal and they don't challenge that ruling,
journalism dies.
Somebody's going to be able to point to it, rightly or wrongly, and convince some other lower court or Supreme Court judge that because there was no challenge to it,
there's precedent set.
Yeah. And
that's terrifying.
And that magistrate agreed with Luke Harding fan fiction. And
fuck that guy.
Like, just transparently bullshit. I mean, just outright fucking rewrites of reality. And they're using the sworn testimony of two paid FBI informants
who are scumbags. Oof.
One of whom who's a pedophile.
Yeah, like scumbags. You know what I'm saying?
And not just like, oh, we caught this guy once. Like, serial pedophile.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. But that's where we're at. That's where the fuck we're at.
I think in chat, Ali over on Facebook has one of the best answers to this question is, how is it even legal to allow such a trial to continue under these insanely cruel and impossible conditions?
I ask myself that all this, because we were just talking about this earlier. Dude was spied on. You know, that he's like being kept. He's like a hostage right now. He's like a political hostage. He's not, there are no charges. Like, he's just being held on remand for the United States government. Like, he's just there. Like, the extradition was denied and they just won't let him out. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't be out on bail right now and on house arrest. I mean, they're like, he's a flight risk. Y'all, the world is on fucking lockdown, and he's one of the most recognizable faces on planet Earth. Like, where do you think he's going to go? Like, what, really? You think he's going to be able to abscond from the UK? I mean, the whole globe is on lockdown. It's fucking ridiculous out there. So regardless of that, there's no reason why he shouldn't be out on bail right now. There's just no reason. There's no legal reason why he should still be in a super maximum security prison, you know, like being surrounded by COVID and kept in the cold.
He might publish things.
Right. But that's what I mean. There's no legal, that's what I'm saying. That none of this makes fucking sense. And the fact that it's like happening in a courtroom in broad daylight in one of the biggest cities on the globe and nobody fucking cares. It's unbelievably, it's mind boggling. Like, it feels like I'm living in like this weird alternate universe where, because to me, it's so fucking obviously insane that this is happening and that people don't recognize how dangerous this is and the kind of precedent that it sets, and that this shit is coming for us. If they can do it to him, they're gonna do it to you. Are you kidding me? Like, nobody cares. Nobody gives a flying fuck. It's unreal. It's so frustrating. Sorry, rant over.
No, I mean,
damn it.
We do have a little bit of good news, though.
Doing? I could use some good news, Andrew. I'm not gonna lie.
Some good news. I'll drop it in chat and I'll
I'm
pull
not
it
gonna
up.
lie.
We had the leader of the UK Labour Party
Oh yeah.
mildly grow some testicles.
Yeah.
Speak up. So
Way to go, my dude.
Well,
It's
and
not-
even this is a fucking like glass half full story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
You
and
gotta
that's
invent
what's
the
worth
wins,
pointing out,
Steve.
too.
Invent the wins. Make them up out of thin air if you have to. That's what I do. I have to stay
Let me
sane.
drop this link before I pull up the screen share because I forgot to do that last time. There's a lot of advertisements on here, and I don't use an ad blocker because I'm incompetent. So
I can hear Sleepy groaning right now.
I know.
Ugh.
So we have the Labour leader wants Julian Assange freed. Anthony Albanese says he cannot see what is served by keeping Julian Assange incarcerated. Anthony Albanese has thrown his support behind releasing Julian Assange from prison after 10 years without freedom. The Labour leader was asked at a caucus meeting in Canberra on Tuesday for his views on the ongoing detention of the Australian WikiLeaks founder. Enough is enough, he responded. I don't have sympathy for many of his actions, but essentially I can't see what is served by keeping him incarcerated. Assange is currently in prison in Southeast England. Last month, a judge in the UK ruled that he should not be extradited to the US due to concerns for his health. And that's pretty much the entire article. UK Labour leader said, no, it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, and the way he couches it
Australian.
sucks.
Yeah.
But at least again, you have to invent the wins. Like this area of activism is not, there aren't very many wins. So I'm really not kidding. Like it sounds like I'm joking, but they can tell you, the guys can tell you, I invent wins all the time. I also like to take credit for things I had nothing to do with whatsoever because it makes me feel better. And that might sound like ridiculous, but that's
The only thing that's ridiculous about it is you give yourself no credit for the things you actually took part in helping to change.
Well, yeah, but like I take part in stuff, but it's like I really didn't. I'm sure that like my one little voice, probably didn't have like the impact that I give myself credit for. Because like Ryan Knight, when Ryan Knight had somebody on to talk about Julian Assange, I took full fucking credit for that in my head.
Yeah,
full credit
because he asked you.
No,
didn't he?
Well,
I mean,
no,
he
tweeted something about it, and I tweeted at him, and I was like, "Hey, you should really have somebody on your show to talk about Julian Assange." And he was like, "Okay, can you DM me?" And so I DM'd him, and gave him like a list of people. But yeah, he
had one of those people on his show.
Yes, but
yeah, okay,
yeah.
So shut the fuck up.
But like lots of people. Okay, I'll shut up now. But you know what I mean. Like seriously though.
But I think a lot of credit goes out to the people in Australia. Ian Rose, all the different activists out there from the Committee to Defend Julian Assange, doing a great job, right?
Yeah.
You managed to, in Australia, get tons and tons of city councils in support of Julian.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You managed to get a working group in Parliament. Not that that's like, whoa, he's free, but that's a thing. That's something that they're
a step, yeah.
It is the illusion of form being forced to change. And so is this, regardless of what this dude, Anthony, the leader of Labour, actually believes, because he's pretty frank that he doesn't have sympathy for many of the actions that he did, right? But at the very least, he's been forced to address it and forced to talk about it, and at least forced to say it should end, right? And that should be a victory for everyone in Australia, because that's massive, and that is well-earned and well fought for.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that really is like we say it all the time. Every little bit helps. Like every little push, every tweet sent, letter sent, flyer hung up, all of those things. It's like you're part of a giant puzzle, and we need mass public pressure. And so that him doing that, even if the way he goes about it kind of sucks, it's still a step. Like it's a step in the right direction. It got it press coverage, which is always good. Just getting people talking about it and asking questions about it. So yeah, I think we can count it as a little win for sure.
Yeah.
100%. I'm into it. I wish we had more of those. Like it'd be cool if we had like one of those a day. Like
or
one
American.
Yeah, just one,
Well,
a single
we have-
American.
We have
Politician.
Massey.
Elected
one-
official.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
but
okay.
So, okay, real
I'll
quick.
give you that because I like to have the wins, but
It's
I wish.
true. It's true. I wish it wasn't somebody that was like so deliberately marginalized for everything else that he says. You know,
Yeah,
I mean, I
because
get
it makes
that we
him very
can't pick
ineffective.
which political scumbag decides to step on their conscience and go, "Ow, free
Yeah.
Julian Assange." You know, we don't get to do that.
No.
So we'll roll with
I
it.
would really like somebody to put me in a room with some of these people. Just
So-
give me 5 minutes. Like, not, I don't mean like I'm going to kick their asses. I know that just sounded like for a second. That's not what I meant. I mean, like, if I could have like a 5-minute conversation with them, I know that might sound like arrogant, but like, I feel like 5 minutes, somebody needs to, like, it doesn't even have to be me. Just somebody go talk to them for 5 minutes about this. Who knows what they're talking about? For the love, like, somebody find a way to get 5 minutes in a room with Bernie Sanders or AOC or whatever. And like, we're going to have to force them. I still can't believe Sarah Palin came out in defense of Julian Assange before Bernie Sanders did. It's so fucked up. It's so fucked up. It's a cartoon. That is a cartoon.
I kind of want your guys' opinion because this is something that's been bugging me for the last couple days. Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? The QAnon person, psyop devotee, that got into Congress and then immediately said, "No, I don't believe any of that. I'm sorry. I should have never said it. It's all false." Right?
Yeah.
She hasn't spoken out about Julian as far as I can find. And I was just wondering
Well,
what your guys' opinions were on that.
Where's she from? Georgia. Okay. I don't know if I've contacted her. I'm sure I have. I mean, I'm sure
I've started just hopping in her tweets and being like, "Hey, you know, that's funny, but what about Julian Assange?" Like,
okay, yeah, that's actually good. I'll start working on her. I'm sure. I mean, I can't be positive, but I think I've tweeted at every single politician who's on Twitter at least once.
Yeah.
But I'm not positive. I can't say for like 100% sure. So yeah, I'll go after her.
What do you think about her being silent, Steve?
I mean, they've already stripped her of any kind of
she's got nothing to lose at this point.
Influence she could possibly have. She's already fed up with DC. She doesn't want, you know, she's already said she's not going to seek re-election. I don't know, man. I'm done trying to talk. I'm personally done trying to talk to these guys. Like, we go nowhere with that because we don't have the people behind us to fucking influence them. So I'm going after the
but again,
people, you know,
but that's what tweeting at these people publicly does too, though. Their followers and supporters see those tweets, and then they may. That's the only reason why I still do it, honestly. Like, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I mean, there really do it. People doing.
I don't really do it that much.
There needs to be people doing that. I'm like, people should be doing that. That's just, as far as what my opinion is it doesn't fucking matter. I
tweeted at the entire Senate Judiciary Committee on Sunday because Merrick Garland's hearing started on Monday and Tuesday. So I sent a tweet to every single one of those motherfuckers asking them to ask him about Assange. They didn't, but every single one of those fuckers got a tweet. You know what I mean? It took me like 10 minutes. Copy and paste. Took me like 10 minutes to get them all. Not a big deal. And that just, you know, hopefully, if that catches like one person's eye out of those, I don't know, 20 people, their followers, that's a win. Invent the wins, bitches. You got to.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
so
man,
I'll tweet at her.
I want those people to know that it's not just, you know, some Twitter accounts, that there are, you know, actually millions of fucking people. We just we're gathering everyone in now, and
we got to build the
I don't know,
support
it's where my head's at, is trying to make sure that happens, and that we've got.
It's so hard right now.
Well, this St. Patrick's Day event will be the first time we had an event where Congress wasn't in recess, I think. I have to double check. I don't know if they get St. Patrick's Day month off, but I'm relatively sure that that's not a federal congressional holiday. Right. So we may have a chance to actually make an impact with these people. Like when we were there in January, we literally chased Mike Pence out of his mansion with me yelling at him with a megaphone as he was driving down the road, because his mansion was directly next to the British Embassy.
Yeah.
If and when we go back to the British Embassy next month, we're going to be pissing off Kamala Harris, because that's her house. That's where
That'll
she's
be
living.
fun, actually. I enjoy this.
Yeah. And the trick, right? You file your permits and you show up an hour and a half early, because that's when the escort starts. That's when they like get all the police in line to get that person out of the house. So maybe
Yeah.
fun.
I would really like to, find some Congress critters to talk to for sure while we're there. Catch them on the street or something. Say what's up.
Can I talk a little bit about what our issues with GoFundMe right now, or should we wait?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we have our fundraiser going. GoFundMe is giving us trouble releasing the money. Our old fundraiser for January is actually still up and running, and ironically enough, you can still donate to it, right? Our new fundraiser, they're not verifying the bank account, my personal bank account that I use to be able to receive the funds in. This is our fourth fundraiser with GoFundMe. This is the first time they've ever given us any issues like this. We have a method, we have something we're going to try to do to actually get this resolved, but at this point, we actually don't have access to any of the donated funds for this GoFundMe yet. We'll keep everybody up to date as the situation goes on, but that's where it stands right now. Is GoFundMe currently won't release our money due to bank account verification for a bank account that you can still actively donate to on the previous GoFundMe. So it's brilliant. They're wonderful at whatever the fuck they're trying to pull.
I mean, that makes total sense.
So worst case scenario, we may have to just update that one that we can still accept donations on, and change the information on there to reflect this event that's happening now. And I know we have to get a post up on the website about it still too. We just have these fucking stupid circumstances going on. Because this is like, I filed an appeal, I resubmitted all the information, and I put in a support ticket, and I haven't gotten any response to my support ticket yet. All they did was deny the verification for a second time.
We'll get it worked out, but yeah, that's where we're standing right now. It's annoying.
It is. It's fun.
It is funny that this is the same bank account you've always used, and
it's ridiculous. You could literally still donate to this fucking bank account on the other GoFundMe.
It's not verified,
right? Like, you've only used it 3 times. You have to do it 4.
No,
it's ridiculous.
I guess it's buy 3 get a. I don't know.
Kick in the teeth for the 4th one.
All these places are ridiculous. Let's be real. Anyway,
but I mean, GoFundMe's given Burmis problems too. They completely removed him. He had to switch to go get funding from GoFundMe, but they only turned off one of his, so his previous months could still be donated, just like ours. Like, they're denying the most recent one, but the previous ones are still open and going. It's stupid.
Yeah. Well, I told you earlier, I saw a blue check that had, I don't know if you guys saw this on Twitter, in the chat, but there was some blue check on Twitter who was raising money for, I don't know, like her dog's surgery or something, like something to do with her pet, I think. And I don't remember if it was GoFundMe, but I'm pretty sure it was, but they just like shut down her account, and said that, like something was shady about it and she just doesn't get any of that money. And she's like, there's like $1,800 on there or something that we had raised for my dog's surgery. And now they're just like shutting my account all the way down and telling me I can't have any of that money. And with like no reason. Like, it's not like she's like some rando that, she's like a blue check on Twitter. But I don't know. These places are all fucked up. Hate them all. The fact that we have to rely on them sucks.
Do we want to do Mo's Jacobin article about the British government's spy bill, police spy cops? Or do we want to do the Twitter's new disclaimer about hacked material first?
Oh, let's do that, can we please? Because that'll get me all fired up again.
Yeah, the Ministry of Truth.
Yeah, I have to.
This is the most fucking ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I mean, Twitter is ridiculous, but this is fucking ridiculous. I mean, this is verified documentation. Like, this isn't some, oh god damn it. It's just getting worse. Like, I know we say it, we're right, It's just getting worse. It's just going to continue to get worse. I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody who doubted us, I told you so, because there's going to come a point where I'm not going to have that option anymore. So I'm going to say it now. That way, you know, it's there. I told you so. You know, this shit sucks. It's so bad. They just, in West Virginia, the West Virginia Senate just passed a bill that makes like state employee striking illegal. I mean, you're losing all your rights, homies. Like right in broad daylight. Nobody cares. Nobody's paying attention. And I get that there's a lot going on. I really do.
No,
But-
there's not. Nothing is fucking going on because the entire fucking planet is shut down because nobody can fucking leave to go do anything because there's a virus that kills 0.6% of the people that get it. So we have to reorganize society over that, turn our entire healthcare system over to artificial intelligence, Peter Thiel and Eric Schmidt, with Bill Gates up out in front.
Oh my
That's
God.
what we have to do. And while everybody is fucking locked in, shivering, fucking scared shitless,
You could be paying attention to this stuff.
Shred of right and freedom that we have is being stolen from us, while all of the fucking money is going straight to the top 0.1% who are responsible for issuing these fucking lockdowns and the reorganization of society. We're going to reorganize society over COVID. But we wouldn't reorganize society because it was being ran by a bunch of sociopathic pedophiles. No, we're going to let the sociopathic pedophiles reorganize the society to the point to where we eat bugs and like it. Fuck you.
Yeah. And you're right. You're right. Like we are like on massive lockdown. There's really no excuse anymore for people to not know about these things that are going on. You know, but people don't care. Like they're not paying attention. They've been trained to not pay attention. I mean, they've been propagandized to like tune everything out of any importance. They don't hear about any of this shit on mainstream media. So the people that come home from their second or third job and have like 5 minutes to catch some news, they turn on CNN and they're lied to. So like, I get it, but it's just really frustrating because, you know, they're stripping everything away from you, like out in the open, and I can't get anybody to care, damn it. And it's so frustrating. I'm not asking you to be obsessed like I am. Like, I'm not like that. I'm not even asking you for that. Like, I get that all the time. People will say, oh, you want Bernie Sanders to speak about Julian Assange. You want him to just drop everything else that he's working on. I never fucking said that once, not one time. I would just like him to say his name once, one fucking time. You know, that'd be cool. Can we start there? Can we do that first? And then we can talk about him being obsessive, because I've never fucking said that. I just want him to mention it. You know, it's the greatest threat to press freedom that, you know, maybe ever. And dude won't fucking talk about it. So, you know, no, I'm not asking him to be obsessive. I'm asking him to talk about it. That's not a big ask for Mr. Progressive. You know what I'm saying? Like, so go fuck yourself. So tired of hearing that. I'm so tired of it. I've never once asked anybody to make this like their issue or to focus solely on this ever. I get that I'm obsessive. I am nothing if not painfully self-aware. I get that I'm obsessive, but I've never once asked anybody to take that on ever. So stop fucking jumping in my mentions to tell me that, because it's annoying. The end.
I mean,
I already know what you're talking about. I showed up late, but I totally already know what you're
Sorry, I was just ranting. You know.
But I have asked people to
I haven't
basically turn. Well, I mean, like you're involved, Steve, Josh. We got tons of people behind the scenes, right? So even asking someone to be more involved, that is a content creator, isn't unreasonable. It's not something that people should feel like they have to not ask, because as someone that watches their platform, you are the reason that they exist. And if you want to see a content creator do more about this specific issue,
you should ask them to do
tell
that.
them that. Tell them it as politely as you feel is necessary for your level of friendship with that content creator. But I've personally lost friends that are content creators talking about these issues, right? Asking them like, hey, you want to come on and do this? And they're like, I'm going to just block you. That was a rowdy day.
No.
But, Spy Cop Bill?
Yeah,
or
let's do it.
Hack? Which one are we doing first?
Oh, I don't care. Whatever.
We were doing the hack one first.
We'll do
Yeah.
the hack one
Really,
first.
I mean,
It's fucked up.
again,
Yeah.
Misty's right, dude. We've been talking about this for quite a while, and it's really getting harder and harder to ignore or walk around. And just yesterday, right, is when the Gray Zone released that article.
Mhm. I
So,
think so, yeah.
I'll go ahead and pull
Are
it
you
up.
pulling? Okay. I was trying to pull it up, but there's always so many ads on everything. This Mashable website is like a billion of them.
You're a Gray Zone article. Okay.
You're gonna get a pop-up, so just be aware.
Reuters, BBC, and Bellingcat participated in covert UK Foreign Office-funded programs to weaken Russia.
What? They wouldn't do that.
No. The UK Foreign and Commonwealth Office have sponsored Reuters and the BBC to conduct a series of covert programs aimed at promoting regime change inside Russia and undermining its government across Eastern Europe and Central Asia, according to a series of leaked documents. I am going to go ahead and in a different tab, like open those up, and then I will drop motherfuck. No, that's the Mashable article. God damn it. There it is. Oh shit. It doesn't do that. Never mind. Don't pay any attention to me. I'll drop the link to the leaked documents here in a bit. The leaked materials show the Thomson Reuters Foundation and BBC Media Action participating in a covert information warfare campaign aimed at countering Russia, working through a shadowy department within the UK FCO known as the Counter Disinformation and Media Development.
Ugh.
Whew, we're gonna unpack that.
That term.
We're gonna stop.
That's
right
ridiculous.
here. Fucking what? The second paragraph.
Not even
second
really.
sentence in. Can't even get into the meat and potatoes of the article yet because the Counter Disinformation and Media Development Office, Misty. What? Okay, if there's disinformation. And your office is counter disinformation. What is your office putting out?
Alternative facts.
Yeah, I don't know what you call it. This drives me nuts. And to get slightly off topic, there were some Democrats who released a bill today to like shut down Fox News and OANN and I forget who else. All like about because of misinformation. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is so scary. I read that and I'm like, what is happening? Like they're talking about like shutting down whole like networks because they decided that what about CNN and MSNBC and Washington Post and New York Times, who have all lied us into multiple wars and who they lie to us on a regular basis, like daily. There is bullshit on CNN, Fox News, and Washington Post and New York Times, and they don't ever get attacked. Well, I mean, the right attacks them. Like they do that whole thing where one attacks, that the dance, the show that they put on. But it's ridiculous. Like this is, and now we have like the Counter Disinformation and Media Development crew. Like, what the hell is that? It might as well just be like, hey, we're the propaganda committee. You know what I mean? Like, this is the propaganda division. Just name it what it is, you fuckwads. Like, just call it what it is. Like, we know what this is.
And we
Ridiculous.
have similar legislation here in the U.S. too. I'll have to find the House bill, but we've actually gone over it, where the U.S. government, I believe it's through the House of Representatives, can select any media organization that they want to give money to run articles favorable to the United States. And they specifically target independent media and people with big followings on social media, like your blue checks and your TYTs. It's literally their playbook. If you read it, the things that they let themselves do are by independent media.
Yeah. This is, I mean, I get tired of saying it, but this is just it's bad. Like, it's already really bad. But yeah, I mean, and the fact that we now know that the British were doing what they accused the Russians of doing the whole time. Mm-hmm. That's fun.
Who would have thunk it?
I know, right? It's not like this isn't always the case that if the U.S. or the U.K. accuses like Russia or China or Iran or Venezuela of doing something, you can almost 100% guarantee that it's actually the U.S. and the U.K. doing that thing. That's how that works. So this is like a good rule of thumb. If the U.S. or the U.K. says like Russia did something, the U.S. and the U.K. just did that thing, and they're trying to, Machiavelli your brain, So that's a good starting point. Like that's a good jumping off point in your skepticism. If the U.S. or the U.K. says something, the opposite is probably true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still on this whole like AOC wants to fund re-education camps thing.
Well,
Dude, the fact that she sent out a mass email to get her supporters to go and mass report people that tweeted things that were unfavorable to her is.
She wants to fund re-education camps. And she's talking about this like nobody should be worried or that it doesn't draw any parallels.
But if you call her out, you're a fascist and you're a Nazi enabler.
That's violence.
It is violence. We're all very violent,
If you remember our Project Veritas, right, for Love 'em or Hate 'em, they had one of the top legal advisors for PBS.
Shake it out, Steve.
On camera, I know, but on camera saying, we're going to put Trump supporters' kids in concentration camps and use the Department of Homeland Security to do it when we go after their parents. Yeah. That's part of the neoliberal agenda that has been exposed. Everyone who has the ability to pay attention knows that that's what they're moving towards.
Wait, are you talking about the 84-pound skinny jeans wearing DSA dude that was on camera with his fucking revenge fantasies and shit? Because that was Project Veritas, and that was pretty fucking hysterical.
No, this is literally the principal counsel, Michael Beller from PBS, saying that they're going to put Trump supporters' kids into re-education camps.
Yeah, going to take their children. I mean, that's not okay to say. That's not okay to say.
If you want to risk the copyright strike, I'll run it. I don't mind. I just don't want to hit Nico's channel.
No. Yeah, we don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
No.
YouTube's already looking for a reason, homie.
And not that I think everything Project Veritas does is wonderful.
Let me tell you what YouTube did to Slow News Day Sunday. So we had on Dr. Pierce Robinson. And I'm going to say that one more time because I still can't believe that. We had on Dr. Pierce Robinson, and it was a lovely conversation. As far as I could tell, I experienced this shit in a blackout, but I didn't walk away wanting to kill myself or fucking build a blanket fort and hide in it for like the rest of my life, which is how I feel after shows.
Yeah, I feel you.
And that didn't happen. And when you get instant analytics when you're done with a YouTube live stream, and there'll be a like pop out screen that comes up, and it'll show you how many playbacks the video got, and the peak number of people that were on the live stream, and total watch time, average watch time, new subscribers if you got any, and if you got super chatted or anything like that. And that's the breakdown. And we had, I did like 150, 160 in the chat or something like that, which is about what we get on Sunday now, sometimes a little bit more. Should be that those numbers should be going on Rockfin, by the way. Like you should be watching this on Rockfin right now. At any rate, there were like 1,100 playbacks or something, close to 1,200 playbacks. And it could make sense. It's about 10% of the live chat, like consistently at the peak, will end up being the number of playbacks. And then when the video uploaded to YouTube, it gave us 433 views. So that when people would go, if they saw it, they'd be like, holy shit, nobody watched that. and ignore it. Also keeps it from being suggested and all that kind of shit. But they took away 75% damn near of the views on it on the upload.
Oh, YouTube is terrible. It really is. You're right. People need to go sign up for Rockfin. Like, it's free. You can just go sign up. Like, I get that there's the option to, like, endorse certain shows. And if you can do that and you want to get premium content, not everybody puts out, like, Facts on the Ground is on Rockfin. We don't do premium content. All our shit's free. We don't do premium content. But there are people who do great premium content. And if you want to endorse a show and get access to literally everybody's premium content, then you can do that. So, yeah, like Slow News Day, for example. Yeah.
You guys, we're about to take
so
the show fucking full time, and y'all don't even know, like, like, if you think that we're going at this hard now, or you think that, like, there are, occasionally some pretty cool people that stop by the show. Yeah. There's like 8 giant announcements coming down the pike here that really looking forward to eventually being able to share.
Yay.
Yeah. And until then, I'm sorry. I
bet I could drag it out of you.
Well, I can't admit to that.
I know.
Anyway, but no.
Not
You'll never get out of me, see? I'll never talk.
I think everybody knows that's bullshit, but we'll pretend. All right, so should we jump back into the Ministry of Truth article? Because, we were like in sentence 2.
That was a hell of a
tangent.
Digression there.
It started with a rant. I'm sorry. It happens.
This shit just kills me, though. It
it's really so bad.
Does. The fucking counter disinformation media development office.
Because it's not even countering. It's straight. Like, no, like we're just.
Yeah, no, this is counter disinformation. You have your disinformation. We have our disinformation. Our disinformation is counter to your disinformation. We have better disinformation because we go through the BBC and Bellingcat.
And Reuters, apparently.
So listen to this shit. Though. The counter disinformation and media development, the media organizations operated alongside a collection of intelligence contractors, public-private partnership, in a secret entity known simply as the Consortium. There's nothing shady about that.
Right? Totally normal. What? Come on. But obviously, they're just like a nice bunch of people who just really care about the truth. I mean,
through training programs of Russian journalists overseen by Reuters, the British Foreign Office sought to produce an attitudinal change in the participants, promoting a positive impact on their perception of the UK. These revelations show that when MPs were railing about Russia, British agents were using the BBC and Reuters to deploy precisely the same tactics that politicians and media commentators were accusing Russia of doing. Chris Williamson, a former UK Labour MP who attempted to apply public scrutiny to the CDMD's covert activities, was stonewalled on national security grounds. He was also drummed out of Parliament on fucking fake anti-Semitism charges.
Huge
one of the only
shout out to Chris Williamson. He's a badass.
One of the only people in the UK Parliament that have spoke up for Julian Assange consistently the entire time. The BBC and Reuters portray themselves as an unimpeachable, impartial, and authoritative source of world news, Williamson continued, but both are now hugely compromised by these disclosures. Double standards like this just bring establishment politicians and corporate media hacks into further disrepute. Way to go, buddy. Thomas Reuters Foundation spokesperson Jenny Vereker,
I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Implicitly confirmed the authenticity of the leaked documents in an emailed response to questions from the Gray Zone. However, she contended the inference that the Thomson Reuters Foundation was engaged in secret activities is inaccurate and misrepresents our work in the public interest. We have for decades openly supported a free press and have worked to help journalists globally develop the skills. Blah, blah, blah. The tranche of leaked files closely resemble UK FCO related documents released between 2018 and 2020 by a hacking collective calling itself Anonymous. The same source has claimed credit for obtaining the latest round of documents.
Thank you,
The
Anonymous.
Gray Zone reported in October 2020 on leaked materials released by Anonymous, which exposed a massive propaganda campaign funded by the UK FCO to cultivate support for regime change in Syria. Soon after, the Foreign Office claimed its computer systems had been penetrated by hackers, thus confirming their authenticity. The new leaks illustrate in alarming detail how Reuters and the BBC, two of the largest and most distinguished news organizations in the world, attempted to answer the British Foreign Ministry's call for help in improving its ability to respond and to promote our message across Russia. Did you hear that, guys? Golly. I mean, I'm going to pause it here for a minute because, oh, heck.
Shucks.
BBC
Shucky
and
darn.
Reuters were just, I mean, gosh, they were just heeding the call from their government who I mean, were just looking for some plucky individuals to respond and promote their message, the British government's message across Russia. They're just,
And obviously, that's just good journalism. I mean, being, just a stenographer to power, that's the whole point of journalism. Didn't you know that? Like, that's the point. I mean, that's what journalists do, right? Right? Isn't that what they do? I mean, it is what they do now, but pretending the way that they try to frame this, like they're doing some grand gesture for their government and blah, 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 and the what they call them, like world renowned something. I don't even, bastions of journalism or democracy or some nonsense propaganda that they always use in these like kinds of situations. It's bullshit. The BBC is a hot fucking mess. Reuters is a hot fucking mess. Reuters, we saw 2 Reuters journalists shot down in a hail of gunfire on a double tap, which is a war crime, on video. Like, that's on video. And Julian Assange is currently in prison for showing us that video. And Reuters didn't say shit. They got nothing to say about that. 2 of their journalists were murdered in broad daylight. And we have it on video. And they never said a goddamn word about it. They're a hot mess. You're a hot mess. What's wrong with you?
If Reuters really wanted to defend, freedom of press, did they have someone in the courtroom with access to the live stream for Julian's trial?
No. I don't even know if they covered it at all.
But, if you want to defend a free press, why the fuck weren't you live streaming that? Why wasn't that the thing?
Just covering it, like one article, and they may have. I don't know.
Reuters
I don't want to.
Reuters did, but the BBC wrote more about a fucking 2-hour Johnny Depp court
in
case
one day
than a month-long trial of free press.
Julian Assange went from the most surveilled building on the planet to the least accessible and least viewed court trial in my memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're literally trying to pull someone out of Orwell's memory hole for the last 86 weeks at this point.
Yeah, to me, the lack of coverage, if you're still in any way consuming mainstream media, and the lack of coverage on Julian Assange doesn't like push you over the edge to stop that, I don't know what will, because it's not like some rinky-dink like court case in some podunk county court. This is the greatest threat to press freedom in history, and like mainstream media isn't talking about it at all. That's unbelievably suspect, friends. Like that, not just because of they have their masters or whatever, but this is news. Like, this is a story. And if you are any kind of journalist at all whatsoever, you would be covering this just based on the fact that this is historic. It is a historic court case. That's not like an oversell. This is historic. This is going to set a precedent moving forward, period, end of story. And if you're not covering it, you might not be a journalist. You know, you just might not be a journalist. You should maybe rethink your profession.
We're going to do that in a Jeff Foxworthy voice.
Huh? Oh, here's your sign or something, whatever. No, that
like
was
you might be a redneck.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, same group. Same
Yeah, same. What's that guy's name though? Here's your
Bill
sign.
Engvall.
That's it. Yeah, got it. I
Engvall,
just always remember here's my sign because like my favorite one.
Engvall's like the junior varsity of that crew.
Yeah.
She's like the
Like my favorite one of those is like he says something like, you know, you see your kid hit their friend, so you walk out there and spank him and say, "We don't hit. Here's your sign." That always made me laugh. I don't know why. That always stuck with me. Made me giggle.
But so back to the Reuters thing, I find this particularly funny, right? Where is it? However, she contended the inference that the Thomson Reuters Foundation was engaged in secret activities is inaccurate and misrepresents our work in the public interest.
Right.
It's called the fucking consortium.
Yeah,
Like,
and you're working with intelligence
for their evil
intelligence community assets. You guys, again, like Steve said, this is a public and private like merger. That's fascism, friends. And then they're also taking away your freedom of speech, freedom to know, freedom of press, freedom to publish, all in one like big giant blob of satanic jello, maybe.
I mean, while at the same time removing your ability to practice a religion, removing your ability to freely associate with other individuals.
Protest. They're trying to take away your right to protest.
You already can't petition your government for grievances.
Yeah.
That's all the First Amendment. That's all put together.
All
You
of
can't have one of those things break without losing all of it. Right?
And they're attacking every single aspect. And I think and it may just be because I'm biased, but I think that press freedom is by far under the hardest attack because that's what fascists do. They attack the source of information because if they can control the information flow and the narrative and control what everybody has access to and the information you're allowed to see and hear, it's much easier to control people. I mean, this is fascism 101.
Well, you have this.
You want to fight fascism? Where's Antifa on this shit? Where's Antifa? I mean, you too busy punching Nazis? You can't stand up for press freedom? Where you at? Like, this is fascism. Come fight it.
They're shopping for slightly worn black hooded sweatshirts and elbow pads.
Right.
Because you never know when you're going to have to put on a costume to go fight somebody else in a costume in order to distract from a larger point.
So it's actually quite fucking sad. Right. So I was there with Jason Burmis back in December. And the hotel that he was staying at, directly across from him, there was I don't know how big or how little it is, but there was a pie shop, right? Like people that make pies. And the pie shop was smashed, right? Along with all these other little businesses down this strip, right? Not even a block away, like literally a diagonal straight walk through a park is the International Monetary Fund. And it's huge 3-story beautiful glass windows with laser etched logos aren't smashed. Like if I was someone that enjoyed smashing windows, that looks super appealing. Right next to it, the World Bank. Right next to that, a United Nations building. Like if you want to fight fascism, why aren't you fighting the institutions of fascism?
Yeah. That's this whole thing. I was thinking about this earlier. I was catching up on some Convo Couch, and Fiorella was on fire the other day about Nina Turner and AOC. And it's the same kind of thing, though. They talk about how these are the people who are always constantly talking about, we're going to hold politicians accountable. We're going to hold their feet to the fire. And then they spend all of their time talking about Republicans. What are you holding Republicans accountable for? We know where they stand. Like there's no holding them accountable. They are who they are. They're very upfront about it. They're not on our team.
They have no power.
Right. So that's not who you hold accountable.
Well,
you hold the people accountable who claim to be on your team who are not doing what they should be doing.
No. It really is. You let them do whatever the fuck you want or they want. because they're on your team. See,
No,
a
that's not how I operate,
player-
homie.
The reason
team
I
player
actually
doesn't criticize their teammates.
That's
especially-
infantile and stupid. That's so juvenile. That is like some teeny bopper, like I'm obsessed with the New Kids on the Block and I just aged myself terribly, or dated myself terribly. But yeah, like that's what it is. It's like this weird, like celebritians. That's what I call them all the time. And it's like these little teeny boppers obsessed with the Beatles or with, whoever. That's not how it works. That's not how
Joey was your favorite, wasn't he?
Who?
I
Well,
don't
you-
even know.
New Kids on the Block?
Was there a Joey?
I think
so
so.
you have that same
There's
propaganda-
always a Joey.
There's usually a Joey.
there's always that same propaganda effort, right? Where you have AOC who only attacks Republicans and is like
That wasn't
fucking
the fucking point of her.
Right.
That wasn't the point of her. It
Well,
wasn't
you
her
Oh
point.
wait,
also-
before we get into any of this, real quick, I just want to point out one fucking thing. Max Blumenthal has a thread on it. The hacked material shit that Twitter is putting up. The warning, you can't click on this site. It may contain hacked materials. The only reason we know that Ted Cruz went to Cancun with his daughters is because of a leaked text message.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but
sorry,
if
hacked.
there's an article that contains hacked material, that's the first article I want to read. That's as somebody who enjoys very much source documentation and truth. If you have an article that contains hacked information, hacked documentation, I'm there. Like that, sign me up for that. I want to see what you got. Like, but you get a warning on Twitter, like this is dangerous. No, this is what I want to see.
But yeah, the media gets to make a fucking bloodbath out of the Zodiac killer because
that's because
look, and somebody made a good point. For all we know, Ted Cruz's daughters killed somebody and they needed to flee the country. And the simple fact that nobody has thought about that or considered what
Listen,
kind of
somebody-
position that
Well,
might have put Ted Cruz or Heidi Cruz in, just shame on you.
No, there's a tweet, and I wish I knew
yeah.
who tweeted it because it's a really amazing tweet. And I'm sorry if it was you. I would give you credit if I could remember who you were, but I don't remember. But it was something like, "Come on, guys, don't get mad at Ted Cruz. He was just fleeing the country and desperate in desperate situations and crossing the border to give his kids a better life." And it's so good because he's so anti-immigration, but it was just, it was a good tweet. I just butchered it. And if it was you, I'm sorry I butchered it. And I'm sorry I don't remember who you are, so I can credit you. But it was funny. Good tweet. It was a good tweet.
back to the
Dead
article.
air.
You got cut off like 3 times there.
We're like
You're not gonna
light
take a
years
swing
past what I
now.
was trying to talk about.
Sorry, Andrew.
We're
We
like-
were talking about AOC and her constant critique of Republicans while she completely ignores the corruption within her own ridiculous party.
I'm gonna go back to the article because
Yeah.
there's a lot that we can cover
Yeah.
here. And look, Reuters solicits secret British Foreign Office contract to infiltrate Russian media.
Jesus Christ.
A series of official documents declassified in January 2020 revealed that Reuters was secretly funded by the British government throughout the 1960s and 70s to assist an anti-Soviet propaganda organization run by the MI6. The UK government used the BBC as a pass-through to conceal payments to the news group. The revelation prompted a Reuters spokesman to declare that the arrangement in 1969 with the MI6 was not in keeping with our trust principles, and we would not do this today. The trust principles outline a mission of preserving Reuters' independence, integrity, and freedom from bias in the gathering and dissemination of information and news. In its own statement of values, the BBC proclaims trust is the foundation of the BBC. We're independent, impartial, and honest, just state-funded. However, the newly leaked documents analyzed by the Grey Zone appear to reveal that both Reuters and the BBC are engaged yet again in a non-transparent relationship with the UK's foreign ministry to counter and undermine Russia. In 2017, the nonprofit arm of the Reuters media empire, the Thomas Reuters Foundation, delivered a formal tender offering to enter into a contract with the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs as represented by the British Embassy Moscow for the provision of a project capacity building in Russian media. The letter was signed by Reuters CEO Monique Villa on July 31st, 2017. This, of course, is the letter here. Contract with the Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs is represented by the British Embassy Moscow for the Russia media. Schedule of prices. Yeah, and there we go. Reuters tender was a response to a call for bids by the FCO, which sought help in implementing a program of themed tours to the UK by Russian journalists and online influencers. Use British expertise to support and develop quality journalism in Russia by enabling Russian journalists and online influencers to develop their skills and capacity whilst contributing to a greater understanding of UK journalistic standards and ethics.
So that was dated 2017. I don't know if my timeline's exactly right, but when did the story about the Russian dude being poisoned with the most deadly poison but not actually being killed, when did
The
that
Novichok one?
Yeah, when did that happen?
The Novichok's a low-level poison.
Well, it was right around this same time, wasn't it? When
Yeah, it was 2017.
Yeah, because that's one of the things that I actually remembered about when one of the very last times they cut Julian's internet off. They were running that story about like, oh, these former Russian spies were poisoned by Russia but didn't die. And Julian literally just tweeted out like, but what if they weren't? And then they cut his internet off and were like, you can't fucking talk anymore. Because he had the audacity to literally just be like, well, what if they didn't do that?
This is good shit. Reuters' tender highlighted the institutional prejudices and interventionist agenda that underlined its training programs, detailing a series of UKFCO-funded programs dedicated to countering Russian state-funded propaganda. Reuters conflated Russian government narratives with extremism. Ironically, it referred to its own efforts at weakening them as unbiased journalism. Here we go. Promoting unbiased journalism contributes to countering propaganda and extremist narratives. They did. Wow. At the same time, Reuters appeared to recognize that its covert collaboration with the British Embassy in Moscow was highly provocative and potentially destructive to diplomatic relations. Recounting a UKFCO-funded tour it ran for Russian journalists in the midst of, there you go, the Sergei Skripal affair. That's exactly what you were talking about a moment ago, Andrew.
Yeah.
After the British government accused Moscow of poisoning a turncoat Russian intelligence officer who spied for Britain, the tender stated Thomson Reuters Foundation was in constant communication with the British Embassy in Moscow to assess levels of risk, including reputational risk to the assembly. Huh.
Oh, totally normal. This is all totally normal.
Just another day in the West.
It really is, though. That's the thing, is that this shouldn't surprise or shock anybody. This is what happens all the time. This is happening every day, all around you. I mean, it's terrible. This is what we're up against. Like when Steve says we're punching above our weight class, these people are for real.
I mean, honestly, they're paper tigers. Like, yeah, they have guns in prisons and the CIA, but like at the end of the day, they got nothing to stand on except their violence.
Well, but they're very good at propaganda and manipulating
bullets
people.
Aren't made out of paper.
No, those bullets are definitely not made out of paper, and the prisons aren't made out of paper either. And they have a lot of institutional power, and they have the ability to manipulate people and completely propagandize people on a grand scale that we can't even almost contend with. That's pretty terrifying.
We have to combat the rewriting of history, which happens all the time. Just today,
well, they're doing it right now. Did you see that they're blaming Russia for JFK? That came out today. They're blaming us. CIA guy is blaming Russia for JFK. Russia killed JFK now.
And who has the balls, right, in the community that actually wants the truth about that to say Donald Trump didn't give us all the documents? Because that was the first thing he went back on. That was his first concession. is he wasn't willing to release 50-year-old documents about who killed a president that everyone knows who it was.
Yeah. I think they were honestly, though, this ex-CIA guy saying that Russia killed JFK, I honestly think it was a distraction because of the revelation about Malcolm X that came out a couple days ago, and the guy like making a deathbed confession about that,
And
which we all knew, but you know,
Reuters framed that
yeah,
as Malcolm X's family alleges
right.
the FBI and the NYPD were involved in his death.
Yeah.
That's
Reuters
how Reuters framed it. What happened was an NYPD undercover wrote a confessional about his participation in this. Like, he didn't come out and like give a detailed reaccounting of the murder. He didn't have it in him to do that. It was a lot of you know, I undermined the civil rights movement by listening to my handlers and shit like that. That's the letter. So his son gets it, his son reads it, his son goes, holy shit, and contacts Malcolm X's family. They hold a joint press conference. They read the letter again that the NYPD cop wrote. And Reuters says Malcolm X's family alleges NYPD and FBI participation. They had no point in like the headline or even the first paragraph of the article do they mention that the cop wrote it. In a nation where now upwards of 80% of the people don't read past the headline, let alone read the headline. They read the spin on the tweet.
Mm-hmm.
And then glance down at the article and go, oh, and keep going.
Mm-hmm. And consider themselves informed.
Oh, yeah, I saw that article.
I saw that, yeah. And then they'll go talk about it to their family. Malcolm X's family is trying to claim that the NYPD, you know what I mean? Like that's how the story gets told.
Cuckoo conspiracy theories. You know how them revolutionaries get.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so gross. And they're really effective at the way that they do those things. It really does just poison people. It's awful. Mainstream media is a cancer. Like I hold mainstream media hugely, like there are a lot of participating factions in the death of the empire that we are living in right now. But the media, hugely responsible on a grand scale.
Am I going back to the article? Or are we going to go with something else? It's 7:30.
Do we want to do some Stratfor stuff? We have a couple.
Yeah, we should, because the anniversary is.
I'm going to drop the Spy Cop article in the chat for everyone. Please read through it. It's super important.
And check out Twitter's new warnings too. Those are fun.
Yeah, I'll put Twitter's terms of service changes in there next. I'm just clicking. I got like 5 chat windows. I got to put this in. And then Twitter's terms of service change. But Saturday is the anniversary of Stratfor, correct? The
Yes.
Global Intelligence Files leaks.
Yes, that is Saturday.
There's actually a lot of cool events going around it too. I think Consortium News has one. Kendra has one on Sunday?
Yeah, Kendra's is on Sunday. Ray McGovern, and I think Deepa's moderating. And is Mo also on that? Muhammad Almazi, right?
Mohammed's in that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so everybody check out Denver's. You can go, I'll tweet it out. We can probably drop it in the chat, but you can go and register for her event. Please do. And please participate and support her in her work because she does a lot for the Denver group, for us. So yeah, support her in that, please. That would be great.
She's my grown-up.
And Steve's my grown-up, which is funny. Still makes me giggle.
So let me pull this up on the screen share real quick. This is, so for people who don't know, Stratfor came out in multiple pieces, like most of the WikiLeaks releases. It wasn't just all at once that it was put out, because they do have strategy when they release information. So we have a couple different pieces here that outline the progression through time of the Stratfor releases. So hopefully we can get to all 3, because the third one's where they bring up the superseding, or the actual secret indictment against Julian. But Let me. Private intelligence firm Stratford is in the business of shedding light on the world for its many clients. On Monday, anti-secrecy group WikiLeaks shed light on Stratford, saying it had more than 5 million of the company's emails and would publish them in collaboration with 24 international media organizations. The small selection so far published by the WikiLeaks website gave us a look into the daily routines of the Texas-based think tank, whose clients range from local universities to global megacorporations. One described as a $6,000 a month payment made to a Middle Eastern source. Another carried bits of gossip dropped by a retired spy, and many of them were filled with off-color office banter. The initial examination of the emails turned up a mix of the innocuous and embarrassing, but the WikiLeaks chief Julian Assange promised more explosive material in the coming weeks. What we have discovered is a company that is a private intelligence Enron. Assange told London's Frontline Club, referring to the Texas energy giant whose speculator bankruptcy turned into a byword for corporate malfeasance. Assange accused Stratford of funneling money to informants through offshore tax havens, monitoring activist groups on behalf of big corporations, and making investments based on secret intelligence. Stratford denied that there was anything improper in the way that they dealt with its contacts. Stratford, who has worked to build good sources in many countries around the world, as publishers of global geopolitical analysis would do, the company said in a statement. We have done so in a straightforward manner, and we are committed to meeting the highest standards of professional conduct.
Hey, isn't that kind of like what the lady from Reuters said? It's like the same exact statement with just some different words. Like that's what I was talking about earlier. This is what they always say.
Yeah, it's like their MO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having our property stolen, we will not be victimized twice by submitting to questioning about them, the statement said. Of course not. How WikiLeaks got the company's emails remains unclear. Assange refused to answer questions about the material Monday, but Stratford said messages appeared to be the same ones stolen by hackers in December. The breach claimed that the internet activist group Anonymous ravaged the company's servers and led to the disclosure of thousands of credit card numbers and other information. Wired magazine quoted an unnamed member of Anonymous as saying the stolen data has been transferred to WikiLeaks, which allegedly acknowledged receiving the transfer using coded messages on Twitter. Anonymous apparently confirmed that the account pointing to the cryptic messages rats for
Donovan.
I wish I could read, which WikiLeaks posted in December 30th. So I just, real quick, I want to point out that this is coming from manufacturing.net. Like, this isn't, like, the place where this is hosted. This isn't CNN. This isn't MSNBC. This is manufacturing.net that is giving an extremely good and detailed analysis of how these leaks were coming out. I don't want to spend too much more time on this one in particular because it kind of just frames the entire issue.
Yeah, it really is just like a general overview of what the leaks were.
But this next one is where a lot of fun comes in. So let me grab this because this is where we actually start to look at different systems that were revealed. This one in particular, I'll just pull it up. I talk too much.
I relate so hard to that.
Does someone else want to pick this one up?
I can, sure.
Yeah. Can you see it okay? Do I need to zoom in more?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Okay.
Okay. So this is WikiLeaks dumps Stratford email dirt on Trapwire, a CIA-connected global spying system. See something interesting and want to take a picture of it. It's a trap. No, seriously, it is, and it may have landed you in a suspicious activity report. Photography is allegedly part of a terrorist pre-attack surveillance. WikiLeaks dumped more emails from hacked global intelligence company Stratford that shine a light on the secret Trapwire global spying system. Trapwire has deep ties to the CIA and is pre-crime surveillance justified by the war on terror. Hey, pre-crime. Good times. Okay. The Trapwire threat meter may possibly be at high red alert since WikiLeaks dumped more shocking surveillance emails from the hacked global intelligence company Stratfor. Privacy SOS reports on, quote, on the revelation of an enormous shadowy surveillance company with deep ties to the CIA. Trapwire exploded on the surveillance scene like a bat out of hell, and people are justifiably freaked out about it, unquote. Trapwire is run by Abraxas Abraxas, holy shit, that's a mouthful. Abraxas Applications. The 2007 white paper described Trapwire as a unique predictive software system designed to detect patterns of pre-attack surveillance. No wonder photographers continue to be treated as potential terrorists, since Trapwire says terrorist pre-attack surveillance includes photographing, measuring, and signaling. This private paste from Justin Ferguson, who helped spread the word of this leak, states, quote, it's essentially a system set up to detect surveillance. So if you've ever taken a picture of basically anything important, you were probably flagged in a suspicious activity report. It's logged to a central database, and then cross-site reports are disseminated, unquote. When DHS launched the SAR's database, senior Homeland Security official John Cohen stressed that authorized users of the SAR's systems are instructed on how to distinguish between behavior and behavior that warrants scrutiny and lawful conduct that doesn't justify attention from the government. Yet this Stratfor email claims the Trapwire benefit of using the system is to help walk back the cat after an attack to identify terrorist suspects and modus operandi. But mission creep infects all technology, and databases store everything forever on everyone waiting to be data mined. With all the ridiculous "you might be a terrorist if" lists identifying much more than real terrorists, we never know what might be considered suspicious tomorrow. This note states surveillance footage can be walked back and track the suspects from the get-go with facial recognition software or Trapwire technology. Didn't the EFF warn us that most Americans are in a facial recognition database even now? This 2006 United States Patent and Trademark Office says Trapwire uses pan-tilt zoom cameras and human reports entered into databases using a 10-characteristic description of individuals and an 8-characteristic description of vehicles.
So I'm going to drop the share there, because there's more. I'll put this in there for
enough.
everyone too. Yeah, because it
really
just keeps going. But that's unlike the mainstream media, when someone reports about some shit like this that actually cares, they don't bury the lead.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
there's still
the fact that they're able, that your face is in some database somewhere, and they can use photography from anyone. Like, you go to like your little cousin's like soccer game, and you take pictures, and that stuff can be used as like some weird pre-crime terrorist tracking nonsense. I mean, it's nuts. It's crazy.
I hope I get to see my file one day.
Did you guys happen to see the video that was out recently of the surveillance drone? I think it was over Minneapolis. There was a protest there, and
the Predator drone.
Yeah, and they're spying. Like, there's a protest, sure, but like they're even zooming in on like some dude with his kid in his backyard. Like, they're out by their garage, like probably getting ready to go to the park or something. But no, they zoom in on him. They zoom in on some jogger. It's like people who weren't even related to the protest or the event that was happening were being spied upon. And that's what they're doing all the time now. I mean, literally all the time now. Mm-hmm. Everywhere you go, you're being spied on.
Yeah, that was a straight Predator drone that got put over during the BLM protests over the summer. Fucking Predator drone. fucking Predator drone in domestic airspace monitoring civilians.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Demilitarize the police.
Please.
Like, I miss that slogan. Yeah.
I mean, it's really kind of incredible what they've been allowed to get away with, and the ways that we have empowered the law enforcement system in this country. It's really terrifying. But we've all been sold like this bill of sales, like this, security, national security. And like, they use that stuff because it makes you afraid. And then you're more willing to accept all this bullshit that they're shoving down your throats and all the rights that they're taking away because you're scared. And that's the way they like you.
Sound like a Nazi collaborator, Misty.
I am.
Wow.
Busted.
That's my favorite saying. Like, I say that all day at work. Yeah, I'll just walk up and just be like, busted.
I do that to my kids all the time when they get caught doing something. I'll walk in, busted.
I love it. But so I have one more about Stratfor, because this was where Not only did we find this out, right, that there was a secret indictment against Julian all the way back then in 2012 and 13, but it was also through the same email dump, and we've gone through this multiple times, like ad nauseum almost. Stratford's plan for attacking Julian.
Yeah.
This is specifically about the indictment. I think it was 2 weeks ago maybe that we actually went through the actual plan to try to discredit WikiLeaks and the plan to drag Julian from country to country and legal problems and all that fun stuff. So let me screen share just a tab. Look at that.
Nice.
The whistleblowing website WikiLeaks has published an internal email from the private intelligence firm Stratfor that suggests the U.S. Justice Department has obtained a sealed indictment against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. And this is 2012-2013 timeframe, right? The email is one of around 5 million obtained from Stratfor's servers by the hacker group Anonymous. Somehow, you have a private intelligence company, Stratfor, a shadow CIA, as people call it, having information about this sealed indictment, secret again, that Julian Assange doesn't have, that WikiLeaks doesn't have, that his lawyers don't have, says Michael Ratner of the Center for Constitutional Rights, who is a legal advisor to both Assange and WikiLeaks. What you see here is secrecy, secrecy, secrecy. News of this indictment comes less than a week after Army Private Bradley Manning was arraigned for allegedly leaking classified U.S. military and State Department documents to WikiLeaks. And do we want to go through the transcript, the interview with Amy Goodman and another person, or do you want me to? Because I think this is the last thing we have.
I don't know if we need to go through the transcript. I think we all kind of can just kind of talk about what that, you know what I mean? I don't know. Whatever.
I'll drop it for now. If we want to get back in, we can. I'm going to drop this link for everybody too. This is from Democracy Now, who is unfortunately is one of those organizations that used to do good and then decided that Russiagate was super important to push.
Amy Goodman breaks my heart, honestly.
How are they on calling us domestic terrorists? Does Democracy Now?
I think they're pretty much going along with it, but I honestly shouldn't say, because I honestly don't watch them that much. I'll watch clips every once in a while, but it just depresses me. So it's hard for me to watch them anymore.
Well, and they had to watch Michael Ratner get killed.
Yeah. They've really gone so far off the rails. It's
sad.
It's so sad.
Like even back
I still have a great amount of respect for Amy Goodman. She's done incredible work in her career, but oh man, hurts me. It hurts because I really used to because I love journalists, and so
she had Commander X on.
you know, she's amazing, or she used to be amazing, and now she's like pushing Syrian gas attack bullshit and Russiagate bullshit, and I'm just like, are you kidding? Are you even the same person? Like, this has to be like a pod person. It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers or something. I can't let myself believe that this is Amy Goodman. Like the Amy Goodman.
You got us the QAnon badge.
Stevie Redneconomics in the chat just said CNN calls Democracy Now reliable news.
Well, that's all you need to know about Democracy Now. Oh, that hurts. Ooh, that's painful.
I wonder what CNN would call us.
Oh my God. Conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat wearing, nobodies, or I don't know that, domestic terrorists.
I got super exciting news on that front, right? I got invited, I got an email from the Cleveland DSA saying that they were having an event to discuss what happened on January 6th. And I was like, hey, I was there. Like, I want to come talk to you about it.
Nice.
So I'm going to get to go talk to the Cleveland DSA about how everything.
So you can get them to talk about Assange too while you're there.
Yep. About how everything they believe is a false flag.
You know what makes me really angry? I'm just going to vent for 1 second. I have been putting it out there on Twitter that if you're a content creator or a journalist and you want to cover Julian Assange, that I would willingly help you. I will find you a really cool guest. And I always tell people, I'm not super connected or anything, but I will do whatever I can to find you somebody amazing to talk about Julian Assange on your show. Nobody has taken me up on that. Well, maybe one or two people have DM me and been like, hey, you know, I have a show and I was thinking about, but most people don't ever get back to me. And most people, like, nobody has really asked me to help them do that. And that's not like saying that they should ask, like, I'm the gatekeeper of like Assange guests, but when somebody puts it out there that they're willing to help you in order to cover this case, it's depressing that more people haven't taken me up on that. Because I said, doesn't matter left, right. I don't care how big your channel is. If I can't find you somebody to be on your show, I'll do it myself. I mean, there's much cooler people that you could have than me, but I will do it myself if I have to. You know, but it just makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, that's I same thing, dude. I've offered a number of times, and when I'm on other shows too, I'll make a point to be like, whoever's watching this right now, like, go talk to your favorite content creators. Ask them to, you know, pay a little bit of attention to the biggest press freedom trial in fucking history.
Yeah. It's just
almost like their job depends on it. Like with all this shit, like vote like your whatever depends. No, because we know that's dumb, because we know none of that ever happens.
right.
But you can, huh?
Go ahead.
Voting isn't gonna like make like vote like your whatever depends on it. Your vote doesn't fucking matter. But
No,
covering
man.
an incredibly important issue that is going to have wide ramifications for the entire globe. Maybe you talk about that just a little bit.
Do you guys remember when Pamela Anderson went on The View?
Yes, she crushed it. Oh, she crushed them. God damn it, that was beautiful.
I also remember that being the last time she was ever asked to show up on The View.
But she was fucking awesome. I watched it like 3 times because it was great. Watching their faces as she like just hammered them with fact.
She did take John McCain's daughter out to the woodshed.
It was pretty amazing. I love her so much.
It takes shit like that, like not shit. I say that because I'll get to a larger point. It takes stuff like that to actually make and force just even independent media to cover it, because literally, like, it was a great interview. She did absolutely wonderful. She said all of the things that are true, but at the same time, it shouldn't take that woman literally being verbally accosted about someone she personally knows who's being tortured to get mid-level content creators to run a story about Julian Assange. Like, it's ridiculous that that's the thing that triggers them. And a lot of times this is the last story some of them ran with. The last headline that they put out about Assange
was Pam Anderson on The View. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, I shouldn't have to beg you to cover this. Like, Glory Jones shouldn't have to, spam your timeline and your email and your chats. And like, Kimber shouldn't have to spend her money to like get in your super chats to shame you into covering this. Like, we shouldn't even really have to ask this. You should be, if you are in media, if you consider yourself in the news, in the business of the news, whether you're just an analyst or a pundit or a journalist, however you like classify yourself, if you're doing that kind of work, you should be covering this. I don't think that that's an unreasonable thing to say. Like, this is a huge, massive ass story.
Especially if you're putting out 20 videos a week.
Right.
Or you do a 3-hour show a day.
Yeah. How about you just donate, or not donate, but 5 minutes. If you're doing like a 3-hour show, if you just did like a 5-minute Assange update, or like a 20-minute Assange update a week, where you like go a little bit further into depth, like regular coverage is what's important, because then it keeps it in the forefront of people's minds. Doing like one video every 6 months, like 1 8-minute video every 6 months, is really not. It's not good enough. Be mad at me if you want, but it's not good enough. Like, it
feels limited hangouty. It feels like these people are there to give you a moderated version of the truth to impress a larger narrative upon you, like a psychological.
And we know that that's what a lot of these douche canoes are doing. Like, we know that's what they're doing. That's not going to stop me from pressuring them and publicly shaming them and trying to get them to cover it more.
Never forget that Tom Hartman's Padawan wants to be first male host of The View.
Yes, be careful. His stands will come for you.
I don't give a shit.
When do we
don't? You know who I want to come for me? Who I want to come for me is Tom Hartman's Padawan.
Yeah.
so I can fucking talk to that fucking washed up fucking mid-grade ecstasy dealer looking son of a bitch about his show.
Yeah.
I'd be honored just to have the DHS come for me and earn my Espionage Act charges. I think that would be.
Not everybody has a fucking martyr complex. Not everybody.
That's funny.
But seriously, dude, like if you're so attached to a content creator that you have to fabricate an entire different reality in order to defend them,
right?
Maybe it's time to step away from the internet in general.
Well, you have you talk
Get
about
a
it all the
book,
time.
go to the woods, pack yourself a picnic lunch, bring a tent, stay
Read a
there
book.
for a month.
Do something.
It's that view of people replacing religion with politics. And then these content creators, no matter how big or small they are, end up becoming a priest, so to speak, for that cult of
you're right.
politicalization. Right? Because not everyone goes to AOC for their daily dose of propaganda. Right? Like some people choose to watch videos on YouTube that propagandize the fuck out of them and are paid for by the same people that pay for CNN and MSNBC.
Well, it's the same thing that I was talking about earlier, though, with like holding politicians, the people that claim to be on your side, even if you genuinely believe that they're on your side, you should still be pressuring them to do better, to do more, to cover more important stories. Like you should not ever. These are people who have a significant influence. And so you should be very critical of them, skeptical of them, and you should hold them to a higher standard. And that's not like an unreasonable request. And if you allow your celebrity worship to cloud your judgment, keep that to yourself. I don't need to hear about it.
And right, with these people, if you choose to present someone in your own mind as an idol, there has to be some way to push back against it. Like as a movement, right, of peoples trying to free ourselves from global oppression, we should be willing to burn every leader at the stake, metaphorically, right? Like anyone who gets in a position of power that's supposedly on our team that takes one step towards a concession should immediately be burned. Because at the very least, what that does is it makes them have their agents at least continue going, right? Where the people can't just reveal themselves the moment that they win a fucking primary or the moment
listen, if you're not pressuring these people constantly, consistently, to hold to their principles and to stick to the things that they claim that they were fighting for, do you have any idea how much pressure they're getting from the inside? I mean, are you kidding me? The lobby dollars and the Nancy Pelosi's in their face telling them that they can have certain committee appointments or that we'll give you this concession for your district if you go along with this vote or whatever it is. They are being pressured from the establishment every single minute of every single day. And so we have to pressure them every single minute of every single day if we wish to counteract that. Personally, I think electoral politics is a waste of time. But if you are into electoral politics and that's not something you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You cannot just say, oh, well, this person, said that they're for Medicare for all. So I'm going to make excuses for everything that they ever do. And I'm going to justify every bad decision they ever make because they once said that they were for Medicare for all. That's
obviously they can't follow through with it.
Right.
They follow through with the thing that they said they're for, then maybe they won't be able to get a chance to follow through with it in the future because
it's only
now
going to be 12
it's
more
just
years.
Not the time.
Yeah.
No, I'm so sick of hearing that. People are fucking dying. People are dying. Now is the time. If you are saying now is not the time for something like Medicare for all, you're okay with people dying unnecessarily. And that makes you a bad person. Sorry, that makes you a bad person.
Things that can't wait. Yemen, Julian Assange, press freedom, and fucking, dude, probably healthcare. But there are things that need to happen in order to make sure that healthcare happens. And one of those things is a complete dismantling of the United States government and all of its affiliated agencies.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're not going to get that fucking healthcare. Or when you do, it's going to come with so many fucking strings attached to it that
that's
you
what they're
are
doing right now.
going to wish that you had the opportunity to go back a decade in time so that you could merely die bankrupt from preventable illnesses.
Yeah. In the United States of America in the year 2021. Like, that's still a thing that we're okay with. What's fucking wrong with us? Like, what is wrong with us if that's something we accept?
Where can we start? Maybe like
well, first of all,
like
we
the
can start by
Nixon
being honest
administration.
about what our politicians are actually doing and stop making lame ass excuses for them not fighting for the things that they said that they were going to fight for. Let's start there, because I'm really fucking sick of that. I'm really fucking sick of that. Stop it. Stop making lame ass excuses for these unbelievably narcissistic politicians who don't really give two shits about you, and they're all about their own careers. And if they actually did care about you, they would have gone in there guns blazing, throwing their fists, flipping tables, and fighting like crazy to get you healthcare. I mean, just healthcare. They haven't fought one bit for that. Like, tweeting about it doesn't count, fams. Like, that's not a fight. They're not fighting. And that should be, you know, an easy no-brainer mantle for them to take up. It's unacceptable. I don't know why. I don't even believe in electoral politics. And I'm like watching these people who donated money and like volunteered for these campaigns, and they are not doing shit for you. And you're not even calling them out. Like, what is that? What good does that do? It's ridiculous. What do you get from that? Like, genuinely, I want to know. Can an AOC stand let me know what you get by making excuses for her? And, oh, well, she's new still, and give her time. And how much fucking time does she need? No, I'm out. Like, I have no more patience for that. I really do not. Like, Nina Turner posted some shit the other day about let's be soft on people and hard on issues. Fuck you. If you're in power or you're seeking power, I'm done being soft on you. You don't get that anymore. Politicians have fucked each other for too long. People are dying. That time's over. Deal with it.
I mean, look, dude, I don't know who people thought Nina Turner was. I really don't, man. I really fucking
You have no
don't.
idea. I'm already ready to be blocked by an enormous amount of people.
But I mean, even this is in the fucking group chat on Twitter, but like even Steph Zamorano tweeted out earlier today, like she didn't comment on it, but they've made it pretty clear that Nina Turner won't go on their show because somebody in the sphere, in Nina Turner's sphere, has made it.
I'm
so
not at all surprised
that they're like, well, fuck, we probably really have a lot to talk about to this person, but because somebody in her sphere is poisoned the well, we don't get to have that conversation. And boy, don't I know what that feels like, Jimmy Dore. I hope that you get Nina Turner on your show. I do. But Steph tweets out, Nina will go on the Humanist Report to defend AOC and the squad.
Oh, that was so gross.
So that's where you're at with Nina Turner. That's who she's going to be, and that's what she's going to do. She's in there to be.
At least she admitted it. She said, I'm going to disappoint you. I'm sure I will. At some point, I'm going to disappoint you. I mean, yes, you already have. Like, you're already a disappointment.
I'm picturing Nina Turner doing a press conference being like, we tortured some folks.
Right? I mean, if you really know, I get it. She's a phenomenal speaker. And she was, great in Bernie Sanders 2016 campaign. So I get the appeal. Like, she's great to listen to. She gives a good speech. But if you actually know her and know like where she comes from, and she used to work at CAP. She was a Hillary Clinton supporter. She just recently started a consulting group that is funded in part by a huge, why can't I think of his name? He used to be my governor.
Kasich.
Yes, thank you. I kept wanting to say Kucinich, and I'm like, no, but I love Dennis Kucinich. So that's not right. But yeah, a huge Kasich donor helped fund her consulting group. I mean, if that doesn't give you red flags, I don't really know what else to tell you. She's not who you think she is. Like,
every org she's been involved in has been like some sort of super PAC or establishment. Fucking like.
It is establishment.
Funded, staffed, operated, but they've got like low-level fucking woke idiots running around screaming Jacobin talking points, and people go, "Oh, they must be all right."
Yeah, People are so impressed by, dramatic speeches and like snarky tweets. It's like if somebody puts out a snarky tweet and like, slams Ted Cruz, it's like, oh yes, queen. And really, that's what impresses you. I mean, have you even examined their voting records? Do you even know like how they voted on certain issues? Do you know any of that stuff? Or are you just like, oh, she tweets good, and so I support her? Because that's what it feels like. And it's the same thing with Bernie Sanders, though. People who supported Bernie Sanders still to this day don't know much about his actual record. I mean, I still get blocked by people when I say that he's an imperialist, and they're like, no, he's not. And then I'm like, oh, really? Here's a whole list of votes that he supported empire and imperialism around the world. And then I get blocked. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what we're dealing with. This whole like cognitive dissonance, cult of personality, just complete lack of actual information, and it's going to doom us all. And this like celebrity worship, these people are politicians. They shouldn't be celebrities. These people should not be like boy band members or like Disney stars. You know what I'm saying? We've turned them into Kardashians, and it's fucking ridiculous.
Well, and you let an Instagram influencer tell you what you should think about politics just because they put her in the fucking House of Representatives.
Yeah, we're doomed. In other words,
We're
so
getting
full of
there.
sunshine and rainbows.
On that wonderful note, I would like to thank everyone for tuning into the Free Assange Vigil. My name is Andrew Smith. You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Zigmund, Zigmund. You can find us on Twitter at action_4 Assange. You can find us online at action4assange.com. We will be putting information up about the St. Patrick's Day protests on the website here in the next couple days. We just want to make sure we get everything figured out on our side before we put that out officially. But yeah, if you could, please help us. You can donate to the GoFundMe. I will put the link in. We're not sure the state of it, like we said earlier, but no matter what, we will find a way to make this happen.
And I am Misty Winston. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I also have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jesse Sirwell. You can find that on YouTube, Rockfin, and Odyssey as of right now. We have a good, cool weekend coming up. We're going to have Jesse Jett on. We're going to do our first live stream. Sleepy Josh is going to help us. I'm very grateful to him. On Friday, Jesse Jett is a musician, and he is going to come on. We're going to interview him. And then he also wrote a new song for Julian Assange that he's going to premiere on our show. So I'm super excited about that. Saturday, we're having Robbie Yeager back on to update us on the Colonial Pipeline, the major spill in North Carolina. So I'm interested to see if he's found out any information on that. And then Sunday, we're having Morgan Rakina back on the show to talk about the work that they've been doing on West Sahara. So that's something that I haven't really seen very many people covering or talking about. So I'm excited she's been doing a lot of like really thorough work on that recently. So I'm really pumped to talk about that. And yeah, if you can help with the GoFundMe, please do. If you can't, share it anyways, because that helps. Same with Julian's Crowd Justice account. If you can donate to that as well to help him out for defense funds, that would be great. I think that's it. I always feel like I'm forgetting something, but whatever. If it can't be that important if I'm forgetting it. So there you have it.
I'm Steve Poikin, and I have a show called Slow News Day with my better than your co-host Glory Jones. Shout out to Glory. You should be watching that show on the Rockfin. You should go make your free Rockfin account as soon as we're done with this live stream. If you're not watching the show on Rockfin, you're going to be very confused like any one of these days when you go to find us on YouTube and we're gone. We've got a lot of big announcements coming up, so make sure that you're checking in with us to be a part of that. Tomorrow, this is just happened during the show, but tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing Keith McHenry. He's the founder of Food Not Bombs. Food Not Bombs is an organization that feeds people everywhere, anywhere and everywhere. And Keith has been arrested something like 70 times for feeding people. And the Santa Cruz Police Department is like basically coming in to crack skulls if they don't stop feeding people. So an organization that, helps people not starve is once again being punished for California's failures, and to sort of like bring it into the Assange Vigil here. Keith is a very old and very good friend of our friend Commander X. They go way back. In fact, X initially bugged me to get a hold of Keith a while ago. So that's all happening. I'm like 80% sure Corey Morningstar will be on Sunday. But really hard getting a hold of her. Yeah, that's about it, man. Make sure you go watch the interview that we did with Johnny Vedmore yesterday. Huge deep dive into Klaus Schwab and his family and what Klaus did as a businessman. None of it is nice, and none of it should make anybody like any kind of confident that this person should be the shepherd of a great reset. That's it, man. Thanks, y'all. Thanks, Sleepy Josh, on the ones and twos. As always, we will see you soon. Good luck to us all.